I have a plethora of things to show you now, and what I'm going to ask you to do with a number of this information is go back to your wiki and clearly organize these links so that you have this information. It's too much to sort through all now, but I want you to have access to it. This is a big one here, this IEP forms. South Dakota, and it's all of the South Dakota links. So let me just show you those quick, and it's the best I've ever seen on South Dakota site for how helpful it is, and it will be helpful to you. It comes up like this, as you know from before, and we looked at this before, but I want you to just see this annual goal examples. So this will help you to study this, and I would certainly. Okay. Has a number of things. It tells you how to do it and gives you some ideas. So depending what you're trying to do, you will have this access. Okay, that's one. And take this whole page. Take this whole page here, but I want to just walk through them. Like here's the description of service, directions for completing eligibility form. First of all, I want to show you the eligibility form. The form is like this, and if it's not exactly the same, it's going to have the same thing on each one. You're determining whether the student's eligible for special ed services. And for mild disabilities, it becomes a big deal. For more severe, it's not if they're eligible, but here we're determining if they're eligible for services. So here is those things. Here's the name of the test, date administered, the score results, list of adverse effects of the disability on the student performance, and then some things here, record documentations for specific learning disabilities. And it gives you this choice. Are you doing RTI or discrepancy model? Discrepancy model is the one where you use the regression score. And so the RTI is more for younger kids, and especially if you're in a school that's emphasizing RTI. But it really walks you through now all the things that go with that. And it tells you whether it's RTI or discrepancy. And it's really quite helpful and simple. And a lot of this is online now. They have electronic things that does the same thing. But here's RTI. What tier are you in? Do they have highly qualified people? Here's the scores week by week that you've documented what's been going on. And it's really quite simple that way, and it goes all the way down here. And you're just pulling information together, and this becomes part of their permanent record. It's their determining eligibility form to determine whether they're eligible for disability and to be in the service. It's an evaluation report. And then here tells you how to fill it out, each one step by step. So on that day when you're putting this together and you're nervous, that's the one that'll walk you through step by step how to do it. All right. What else do we have here? Here's that IEP form that you already used. An addendum, meaning if you need to make a change, you can just do one page. A goal page. These justification statements. We looked at that on the IEP, but you might want that also because it has a number of great examples of how to write these justification samples. Remember, that's accept or reject form. For each option, you have to deal with each option. Okay. Unacceptable justifications, instructional needs, but it gives you some pretty clear looks at this. Different examples how you do it. And you don't have to make this form. You can do like I did and just write accept or reject. But you could do this also. You could make that continuum on your thing also. But you have to mention each one that you pass over. Like on 4, they're going to place a student in a residential facility. That's one they accept. They had to give the reason why they rejected every one prior to that. They rejected the general classroom, the resource room, self-contained, and the separate day school. Those were all rejected. So that tells you how to do that part of the IEP. Prior notice to the meeting. This is very good also. prior notice form, and all this is this is the parental safeguard. This is how you safeguard the parents' rights. And remember, you don't do anything without a prior notice. Even if the parent can't attend, you still notify them. The things that they have to attend, of course, is when you first place them in a special ed, you need their signature. But here, for some of the things, just that what you're planning to do, and you write this out, and there's a thing that helps determine this, and then you make this arrangement. You don't just put this down here when and where the meeting will be, but after you've contacted them, you make this part of their prior notice, and you tell them the date, the time, and the location. And location doesn't mean school, like the library or whatever. And then this is another step that I haven't talked about, is that you have to wait 5 days after you notify them before you do anything, and they can waive that. And I hate to tell you, but if I forgot to or didn't get this out in time, sometimes I'd have them initial this, and for the most part that works. But if you don't get this back, you have to wait 5 days before you have this meeting after they get this prior notice. And then you tell who's invited, the purpose of the meeting, and such, and different things here. So that's the prior notice form. And then here is prior notice sample statements. Here's prior notice consent, different things like that. And they have some help for Spanish speaking here also. Present level of performance examples are very helpful. Sometimes it's a struggle to come up with decent present level performance, those plops, to put on that plop page, the present level page. And they have just a very nice spread of different things that you can use to come up with those present levels of performance. What else do we have here? A service plan, but a number of things. And like I said, take these links, put them on your wiki, and put a note with them what they are, so you can identify them quickly and then link them. And know that these aren't forever. This whole website has been redone recently, and so some of these you may want to download then. You know how you do that too. Say, for example, you want this form for the prior notice for the meeting. If you want that to permanently, it all opens into these forms here, like this. And you should be able to download it. Save like this. You get this window, and you tell it where you want it. Okay. So some of these you may want to take, but even still, even if you download some of these, I would still save these links and organize them for yourself. Now here's another little thing over here that I found very helpful also. And this is the whole form on how to determine eligibility for special ed. It takes you disability by disability and tells you how to go through that process. And of course the most common one is determining a learning disability or attention deficit or what have you. Pretty big file. There's 191 pages, but it's very well done. The folks at the State Department should be congratulated, I think, because they've redone it a number of times, and every time it's better. And who it helps the most is you young folks. Okay, it was just done in November of 2010, so it's in pretty good shape. Has a nice, nicely done. Evaluation reference, IEP Technical Assistance Guide, existing data form. Now these I really thought are cool. So if you have questions, very good questions, here's the one I thought, like timelines. And it's just questions answered. What if I received the prior notice at 4:30? Remember, you have to wait. Okay, counting. So you have 25 school days in order to hold this evaluation, have this done after that thing is signed. 25 days. And so it walks you through these. Tells you about those different timelines in special ed. 25 days from the time that they sign the evaluation consent until you have to have it done. So you got to get going, 25 school days, because it's not always automatic. Here's some questions answered about transition, transferring to a private school, pre-referral and referral question and answer, prior notice consent. Very good stuff here about how to use prior notice stuff. Okay, the 5-day notice thing, who's to be invited, those types of things. So please spend some time on this page and mark it. Bring some of these links that are helpful to you to your wiki and mark them well and put them with your IEP stuff. Not done. Not done. Getting out of this and going back to this. And that's this, parents' rights. And I don't know why I couldn't find this link on there, but I'm sure it's there. I did this in a Google search. And we haven't talked a lot about parents' rights, but this is a whole nother discussion. I know you had some of this in your SPED 100, but I want to review it because you want to be able to explain this to parents. And this too has been recently being redone. In May of 2010 it was redone. And here is the different notices, the different rights they have for services, efforts, others, those things. Lays that all out. The manifestation determination, those types of things. So this is way too big too. It's 47 pages. So if you'd say to a parent, do you understand your rights? They all say yes, and I'm telling you they don't. And so you need to pick out a few things out of here. One is they have a right to disagree. They have a right to a hearing. You know, they have a right to be part of everything. That's the procedural safeguards. They get a right to due process if they don't agree. And this is a big form, and deals with complaints. Here's the difference between a due process hearing and things like that. So that is the parents' rights. What else do I have here? This is a thing on why we need, I found this from Virginia Council of Learning Disabilities, on why we need general educators. And this is something I would mark and take with you also. It's very well done on what the role of the regular teacher is in this process, from what the role in pre-referral, in referral, child study teams, develop evaluation, through that process, eligibility, the IEP development, IEP implementation. Very well done. Take that. There's the parents' rights. Related services. Here is the thing, the state again. I couldn't find the link on the page, but on a search, when I asked Dr. Google, I found the page that explains all the parents' rights, all the related services. So please mark that and take that with you onto your form. And then this is the one I wanted to show you too, and this is West Virginia has an online IEP training site that lets you cite, and this is very similar. South Dakota does not have this yet, how to train your teachers to run the online version of it. So if you look at this, it's all under their professional development, and it has this very well laid out. Look at this. It says here's the things electronically before the IEP process, during, and then after. Okay. So you're familiar with this, but here is the steps, and it's very well laid out, and it tells about how to do it on this online IEP. Okay. Let me go to one that I like, the annual goals. Now when you click on annual goals, it gives you a lot of choices here. And one of the choices that you want to see this electronically, you can get the instructions, the forms, script, those things, but right here is the navigation of the goal. All right. Yes. And you Mac lovers are going to love me, or Mac users are going to love this, that it's Windows Media stuff, but you could download it as something else. But I just want to give you a quick peek of how well this is done and explaining the online version. If you go through these steps, you'll have
academic and functional performance and annual goals. This menu item is probably the most extensive of all those available within the online IEP, and is broken into three natural parts: the present level narratives, the selection of the standard type, and the development of the annual goals.
No, he goes out and shows you how to do
Two of the
this.
three have subparts to assist the user in creating a usable draft IEP.
Wish South Dakota would do this.
First, we will explore the present level narrative section.
Okay, clicks on that.
To begin drafting these narratives, click the present level line item. The additional items that appear below the present level menu are the various areas for which you can draft statements. Let's briefly discuss each one of these 8 possible choices. By clicking General Information, you are presented with a generic box that is to be used to introduce the child or discuss areas of need that do not fit into one of the predetermined present level
they give you
areas,
both. There's drop boxes,
such as reading, language arts, or math.
and it has both.
Enter information as appropriate
Move you ahead here a little bit.
section. If you do not wish to be in this section, click on the menu item you wish to navigate to, and you will be moved away from this section. When clicking Reading Language Arts, you are presented with a screen requesting the age and grade of the student. The online IEP is collecting data to assist the user in looking at the grade and age of the student. After choosing the appropriate grade level, you will need to select below, on, or above.
Okay, see, so it's all menu driven. And so I've had students get really nervous about this electronic version, but I'm telling you, it's going to be easier than the paper version even. So if you can master the paper version, you've got it. But nonetheless, please take this with you also. It's a wonderful training. Goes through all the steps of this. And also it lays this out so well of this process of developing it. Even the prior notice here. It'll tell you exactly how to do that in electronic version. All right. Parents' rights. And this is just some additional links down here you can look at. This is the whole South Dakota SPED page. And you may want to link that also. But if you don't know how to make links on your wiki, make sure you ask. But organize this information so you have this going forward also.